Hello, everybody. I hope everybody is having a good day today. I hope everybody had a nice week. I know I'm looking forward to, well, I guess technically the weekend because in the very early morning, there's going to be a Final Fantasy XIV FanFest keynote, so I'm really excited about new Evercold news. I don't know if anybody else is, probably. Catch me up at 4 a.m. watching the Evercold keynote from Berlin. Yeah, I'm really excited. But, alas, now is not 4 a.m. Instead, now is the time for Punishing Grey Raven. And we've got just a little bit left of this new chapter. So, let's get started, shall we? Alright. Let me just adjust my mic quickly. Gosh, I'm gonna be in a weird mood tonight, aren't I? I had difficulty sleeping. I feel like that's gonna show. Good old insomnia, you know? Sometimes you go to bed when you're tired and you still can't sleep. Okay. Transgression. If only miracles really existed. Okay. Okay, evil Batman. The thing people called a miracle. Tavis Spellman had seen one with his own eyes long ago, on the day Ophelia died. The elevator hummed to life. The low vibration of its metal shell traveled up through his feet, a route he had taken on countless ordinary mornings before. Through the transparent glass, the Atlantic Eye was nothing more than a gray-white arc stretching endlessly across the ocean. The travel brochures had given it many grand titles. A wonder of human engineering, the heart of the transatlantic economic community, the current control system. Once, it had also been called an engineering miracle. The elevator descended slowly. Warning lights and mechanical structures cast flickering shadows across his vision, briefly obscuring the view. Then a thriving metropolis came into sight. In those days, the four great families were ambitious, determined to push the boundaries of human life further beneath the ocean. The city's simulated nightscape, rendered through seawater itself, was somehow more magnificent than any city in the transatlantic economic community. It was a sight that belonged only to the Golden Age. The elevator continued downward. When it stopped again, the view had changed entirely. This was the engineering zone controlled by the Spellman family. Workers in dark blue or olive green uniforms moved through the corridors. Pipelines, cryogenic units, deep-sea operation chambers, hull welding. Behind every hallway, someone was on shift. Researchers rotated through their routines. They ate, napped, ran experiments until dawn, then went to the upper level for black coffee before returning to their stations. Tavis's laboratory lay deeper still within this zone. He walked along the corridor, never thinking this day would be any different from the last. Morning. Morning. Jeez, you pulled an all-nighter and still made it on time? I'm impressed. Project's not exactly going great. Arias just cleared out a whole tier of management. Aren't you worried he'll come for you next? At my pay grade? Please, I'm not even on his radar. If he wants to clean house, that's his business. Not like he'd go after Tavis, right? So, how far did you get last night? We need to boost Understanding's extraction efficiency, but this is all the computing power we got approved, and the tidal window's only so wide. Only thing left is to push the sampling rate and squeeze out a little more data flow. Hope for the best. Arias said today's the deadline. Parsing anything out of the consciousness tide is like finding a needle in a haystack. I tweaked the algorithm last night. Helped a bit, but not much. Did you catch any issues in the data? I went through the reports on the desk, couldn't figure out which parameter was throwing things off. Everything looks fine on paper. That's almost worse. It could be the whole approach. Maybe we're targeting the wrong block. But we're using the block the boss assigned us. I filtered out all the junk from the old human data archives. Memes, stuff like that. Hey, memes aren't junk. Fuck you. Well, I guess they are a little bit. Sorry, I got defensive over memes. What kind of nonsense? Tavis walked into the lab in a daze, still unable to gather himself. Oh, there he is. You're late, boss. That's not like you. If even the boss is running late, think you could wipe my tardiness while you're at it? Nadia? Arbin? His gaze drifted from one face to the other. You're both here? What do you mean? You promised to take us out after the weekly meeting. No way anyone's calling in sick today. The white overhead lights, the reports spread across the desks, the test diagrams still glowing on the terminals, the familiar scent of disinfectant mixed with the residual warmth of metal. He knew everything here all too well. Weekly meeting? Please tell me you didn't mess up the reservation. Boss, I've been talking up that restaurant for weeks. On the day of the Atlantic calamity, his subordinates have been waiting in the lab, expecting him to fulfill his promise. But poor Podesta's business had him trapped. There was barely a moment to get away. Boss, you look terrible today. Pulled another all-nighter? Don't tell me you stayed up working at home again. Seriously, you really need to rest once in a while. Everything felt more real than reality itself. The Understanding Project. What's its current status? It hasn't said this explicitly, but I'm guessing these two people are actually dead. And this is like his first encounter with what he's doing to everyone else right now. Maybe this is when he realized it was possible. Because they also mentioned Arias. And based on the timeline, he would not be around at the time of Ophelia's death. I can only see the extraction efficiency from here. You know that. Everyone, stop what you're doing. Get out of the Atlantic Eye. Now, go. The office went quiet for half a second. Nadia's pen froze over her report. A beat later, Arbin raised his head from behind his screen. Boss? You okay? What's happening? What's this about? Did you pick up another prank somewhere? The understanding Saphira extraction will blow the entire dam. You have to run. Now. Alarms blared across the entire floor at once. The glass screamed under the high-frequency tremors. Someone swore. Someone ran for the exit. No one could tell who moved first. Hi, Neo. How are you? I hope you're having a good day. Boss, what is going on? Tavis fell silent. He knew running was pointless. Not a single researcher in that office survived the day. Something closed around his throat. He could not push out a single word. At least you're free from the stressful work week. Yeah. Have a nice, relaxing weekend if you can. We're getting Evercold news. That's exciting. Also, hi Ash Frost. Hope you're doing well too. The next second, blue light swallowed everything. The explosion was silent. The world crumpled as if crushed by a giant hand. He saw the lab bench flip through the air. He saw the alarm lights trace strange, impossible arcs. Blue light swept across everything first. Desk edges, pen tips, the rim of a screen, sheets of paper suspended in the air. Yeah, I guess everybody is expecting to see the new tank first, rather than the new ranged DPS. Wonder what it'll end up being. I'm excited. Also, maybe we'll get to learn more about what evolved mode is like. I'm still deeply curious. Especially because they haven't gotten into what evolved mode would look like for red mages at all yet. Then the laws of physics began to come undone. Matter shifted, splintered, and tore apart in impossible ways. The blue turbulence ground the world into unrecognizable debris. Steel frames melted and hardened again. The researchers' bodies stretched into elongated shapes that no longer belonged to them. Yeah, I hope they show more classes soon, too. Then everything went white. Nothing remained. Nothing had been saved. When he opened his eyes again, an officer from the control court sat before him. Tavis Spellman, based on the court's investigation into your communications records and experimental findings, you had no direct involvement in the Atlantic calamity perpetrated by Arius Airhorn. You're free to go. No, that's not right. I was the lead on the Consciousness Tide project as well. And? The project I led killed all those people, and you're telling me I had nothing to do with it? I knew what Arius was planning. When he framed the Copperfield family, when he and Dominic turned against each other, I knew about all of it. Mr. Spellman, the court bases its rulings on evidence, not on the subjective beliefs of the parties involved. The officer did not even look up. He simply scratched a few signatures across the paperwork. By your standard, should everyone who survived be judged guilty? I was the project lead. My name was right there, under Dominic and Arias. Leading a project does not make you an accomplice. You were not present at the Atlantic Eye on the day of the incident. All communications between you and Arias or Horn were strictly technical in nature. By the court standard, you are not culpable. I designed the ISO device. My department was responsible for energy level control. And the Saphira. The control court's officer's eyelid twitched, barely noticeable. That's quite enough, Mr. Spellman. The control court respects your integrity as a researcher. I ask you to respect our professional judgment in return. Hi, Toa. How are you? I hope you're having a good day. If you feel the need to atone for something, we can arrange a therapist. There's no need to be this hard on yourself. That technology was never meant to cause this. No one wanted this from the beginning. The consciousness tide, humanity's collective consciousness. If we had succeeded, there would be no barriers left between people. Maybe then everyone could truly reach one another. Understand one another. You haven't slept in 27 hours? Man, I didn't sleep great, but at least I did better than that. You should get some rest. But PGR is going well. We're at the end of this chapter. Well, not like the end, but like, you know, we're at the final part. And construct tech. Humanity could finally shed the weight of flesh and bone. Maybe even break past the limits of the tantalum copolymer. We could have entered an age without conflict, without restraint. Do you know what else we did? We applied this to medicine. We tried to restore consciousness in the dying. We explored cloning. We tried to preserve the dead as pure information. Maybe one day humanity could overcome even death itself. I believed in that future. That's why I did all of this, and I knew the risks. I knew them from the very beginning. He heard his own voice, quickening and rising with every word. The man wanted to trade the truth he spoke of for a share of the blame. I knew from the start what Dominic and Arias were hiding beneath that dam. But I never imagined. I never thought mind research could lead to a catastrophe like this. If I had just paid closer attention, if I had cared more, all those people, so many brilliant people, they'd still be alive. The man seated opposite gave the table a soft, deliberate knock. Mr. Spellman, remember the court's ruling. Obsessing over the past won't help you. Not in your current state. So you won't even give me a trial? He shot to his feet. Files, a terminal, and an unfinished glass of water were sent crashing off the desk by one sweep of his hand. Papers scattered through the air. The glass hit the floor and split in two. As the sound died, the control court officer's silhouette began to drain of color. The office walls pulled back, like a backdrop being rolled away. When he came back to himself, everything was gone. He was on his knees. Only an endless, impossibly clean whiteness remained. Why? Why won't a single person look me in the eye and say it? Tell me that this is my fault. The Atlantic calamity. I'm a culprit too. Why? Why did no one come to condemn him? Night after night, the dead spoke to Tavis in his sleep. Dad, are you coming home tonight? Mr. Spellman, about Port Podesta's next quarter. Mom, can we buy this hoo-hoo? Please? Pretty please? Don't you think the Atlantic Eye is a miracle? How could you ever be tired working on something like that? Don't work so much. Take care of yourself. When are you coming back up from the Atlantic Eye? As Port Podesta's highest administrator, he heard everything. The days he should have safeguarded now lay in ashes, burned away by his own doing. The lives that should have carried on vanished without a trace beneath the shadow of disaster. The weak Arius pushed to remove Understanding's energy limiters. I knew something would happen. I could have saved them. If the technology had just been a little further along. If I had just tried harder. Every time the man told himself to observe a little longer. Keep monitoring for now. Not enough data. It's too early to speak up. He knew better than anyone whose fault it was. He had witnessed everything Arius had done, and he had remained unmoved from start to finish. The escalating experiments, the expulsion of the Copperfield family, his arguments with Dominic. In the white void, blurred shapes began to solidify at the edges of his vision. A pair of shoes, then the hem of a coat, an ID badge, a coffee stain on a lab coat sleeve, the cold gleam of a terminal reflected on glasses before it could be turned off. The pieces assembled themselves into faces he knew too well. Arbin, Nadia, and so many others who had once worked beside him, sharing jokes, complaints, late nights, and heated debates. They stood there watching him, as if this were just another morning after a long night of overtime. Boss, don't beat yourself up. You did everything you could. Boss, I didn't know you could cry. Come on, don't. No one blames you, really. It's all right, sir. The dead only stood there, an unbroken wall he could never cross. Their words of comfort did nothing to ease the guilt tearing through him. He grew hysterical, shouting in anguish. More and more of the dead gathered around him. Their reassurances blended together, but they did not grow gentler. Instead, they swelled into an overwhelming noise. His head dropped. I should have said something sooner. A week earlier, or even a day earlier. The crowd's reassurances drowned out his soundless crying. Slowly, he raised his head. His lips parted, grasping for words. But something stopped him cold before a single syllable escaped. A dark stain spread from Arbin's collar, bleeding through the white of his coat. Nadia's smile held, even as blood welled at the edges of her eyes and ran from her lips. From Cassie's slack fingers, blood began to fall in thin lines. And still, their faces did not change. Boss, it actually doesn't hurt. We're okay, really. Nadia lifted a hand to wipe the blood from her chin, but as her sleeve rose, more crimson flooded out from beneath it. Blood ran down her wrist and dripped onto the white floor, the first red drop spreading against the pale surface. Oh, I'm doing okay today. I'm excited about the fan fest. You've got a beach day tomorrow. Ooh, exciting. Every word was spoken gently. Every person who spoke was drenched in blood. Still, the voices kept coming, pouring in from every side. Tavis watched everything unfold before him. I have no direct involvement in the Atlantic calamity perpetrated by Arius. I'm free to go? Okay, I hope you can get some eep, Toa. If you think my reading this story is ASMR, I won't contest it. I don't know if this would be relaxing enough to be ASMR, but you know, you do you, and and I appreciate the, you know, I appreciate you being here. Stop! His scream nearly ripped through his own throat, and the figures before him shattered. Yet the footsteps came again. Someone he knew even better walked up and stood before him. Did you just write my name as the word look? Father. Oh, Ophelia? Why? It's you. I've come to say goodbye. Why? Did it fail? Yeah, you could say that. I've already found a way to stop understanding's anomaly. You don't have to worry anymore. You're EP too? Okay. Well, if you need to get some eep, you can go eep. Okay, so I get it now. I probably should have put this together before, but this is happening because of the anomaly that happened when Ophelia died. I get it now. Okay. Because I was like, when is he experiencing all this? I mean, I know it said on the day Ophelia died, but I was like, what, why is this happening? Now I get it. Ophelia. You asked me before if there was anything I wanted to say to you. Well, I thought about it a lot later, on the operating table. I guess I do have things I want to say, Dad. A lot of them. When you first brought up the surgery, I'd already made up my mind right then. Dad, does that meet your expectations? This test you gave me, did I get it right? That's not... Dad, can't an ordinary person still be good? Can't they live a life that's theirs? Please don't dismiss this. It's the best choice I could make, as just an ordinary person. I know how hard you've tried, Father, so please, let me go. Let me leave, Father. I'm not afraid of death, and I don't blame anyone. It's just, after I'm gone, remember to keep the fridge stocked with macarons. The ones from the pastry shop on the street by our old elementary school. Helentine's always loved them. Oh, and make sure Helentine cleans up around the house once in a while. Whenever I'm not there, both your rooms turn into a disaster. And... No. Please. Ophelia's voice faded. A hair ribbon and her earring settled softly onto the spreading blood. Tavis knelt on the ground, clutching the blood-soaked ribbon in both hands. He had made too many wrong choices in his life. Each time, he had believed it was the best option available. But the answers always came too late. If only he could make a different choice this time. Could the extinguished lights of Port Podesta shine again? Could those empty houses be filled once more? Could his life, his family, his happiness, and his pride all come back to him? If only I could stop losing everything. If only I could make everything right. If only miracles really existed. It's like he always made the wrong choice. He wished he could just make a different choice, but seeing what's happening in the present, it sure seems like he's still making a lot of wrong choices. So maybe he learned nothing? Or maybe he just learned the wrong lessons. So he actually believed it. That you could use the Saphira to translate the punishing virus? In his current state, he'll cling to whatever he wants to believe. I'll keep the punishing virus concentration in check. The tragedy won't unfold too quickly, Yunjin. Lithos, you motherfucker. That's not what I meant. The test subjects. That one called Cassie, and all those random data samples. There's also this reporter who crawled out the other day. Are you questioning their integrity? Don't worry. There's some rejection between the Saphira and the punishing virus, true. But they can hold a human shape. For a little while, at least. And when that runs out? In the end, it's just a shell. Given time, it breaks down on its own. Their speech patterns will start to glitch. Their nature as the red tide projections will show through. And there will be occasional severe nerve pain. But that'll last long enough to bring Tavis around. Time is not a concern. Besides, I am curious to see what the Saphira is truly capable of. Consider it part of the experiment. And while we're at it, we might as well grant Tavis a past dream of reunion. A miracle will occur. Lithos continues being a piece of shit. Well, it's boss fight time. I mean, there might be more story before it, but We're here. Her understanding. Years severed by death, stretched by regret, and forcibly stitched together by obsession, now collide at last. Okay. The other achievement's still hidden. Alarms, explosions, and the shriek of tearing metal blend into one chaotic roar. From the core, a cold blue luminescence seeps outward, washing over barricades and the ash-darkened faces of the living. Within that light, shapes emerge. The dead from Port Podesta's past, brought back by Tavis. Some have already lost their human shells. Beneath them, the raw red tide projections flicker and pulse. A splitting pain tears through Wynn's head. Wynn! Oh, you got to a big plot twist in your game and you're shook, betrayed, gobsmacked? I see. I've never played an Ace Attorney game, so I wouldn't know what kind of plot twist you're talking about, but I bet it's crazy. I bet it's wild. A crimson glow leaks from the young woman's injuries. She clamps a hand over her chest and sets her jaw. No, not yet. I didn't come here to drag everyone back. I'm not going back. With trembling fingers, she takes hold of her weapon. If I turn into one of them, Crassus. I know. Faces that time should have taken long ago now drift in the cold light, their flesh half rotted, their eyes empty. I should try them out, they're dumb fun. But they're also like mystery games though, aren't they? So, wouldn't that make them kind of smart fun, in a way? But I mean, you know, things can be smart and dumb at the same time. I mean, I'm sitting right here. They look at these faces and remember the names that used to belong to them. A hard, metallic crack tears through the stillness. Crassus heaves his axe and drives the ambushing corrupted into the iron scaffolding by the road. Snap out of it! All of you! His shout hits the street like a hammer blow. You want to mourn? You want to grieve? Fine. Save it for when we're not fighting for our lives. Port Podesta is under our feet, and the whole world is watching. Wynn forces her battered frame upright. Pick up your weapons. Hold the line. This is our city. Our Port Podesta. More figures emerge from the haze. Rebar, rain, the sharp clang of metal on metal. On this street, they have already given their answer about life and death.
You're back, Helentine.
You're in your Batman suit. Your Batman suit with ginormous titties. The harsh screech of grinding metal drags through the empty central corridor. Yeah, you're right. He kind of was designed for Ash Frost. The man before her is now fully encased in a battlesuit, his face barely visible. God, does this mean... This is kind of wild. This means I'm gonna be facing, like, a regular human as a boss. I don't know if that's ever happened in this game. like legitimately. I don't know if I've ever fought a regular human as a boss in this game.
Many years ago, outside your mother's hospital room, you had that same look on your face, Helentine. I remember it clearly.
Do I think the tits are a weak spot? Probably not, because they've got, like, armor there. Although, I don't know. I also remember hearing that, like... And I know this was meant more for, like... I know this was meant more about, like, feminine... Or, like, you know... About the feminine body shape. But I remember learning that it's, like, really... Practically really bad for armor to be shaped like that. But, like, this isn't quite the same. I don't know, man. Also, like, do anime games ever follow that kind of, like, physics logic? I'm not here to relive the old days, Father.
Everything Port Podesta has suffered. This is the only way to atone for it all.
You're just drowning in your own past.
If you had the chance right in front of you to undo it all, would you turn away? If you were still the Helentine you used to be, I don't think you would.
Tavis let out a sigh.
Most of humanity's regrets come from one thing: the inevitability of death.
You think they have their own gravitational pull? They could. We don't know what this suit does yet.
Death always slips beyond our grasp, leaving behind a void in our lives. This world has failed too many people. It owes them an answer. And I will lead humanity past death itself. I will bring about a miracle. Something even Dominic never achieved.
You don't have the right to decide for Port Podesta, or for anyone.
Regret always comes too late, Helentine.
Well, I mean, if it didn't come late, it wouldn't really be regret, would it? You sound like you're trying to be all smart. and make your big points. But I don't know, man. I don't know. Maybe you're kind of a dumbass. Tavis shakes his head.
If someone told you that you could feel your mother's arms around you one more time, that you could hear Ophelia call your name again.
Wait, are you calling me or him 3 brain cells?
Would you say no?
I won't make that choice for them.
Only because they never had one. But if they did...
No. The young woman cuts him off. The dead wouldn't want the living to stand still. Oh, so it was me. Rude. Open your eyes. Look at Port Podesta. Look at what it's become. Tavis, is this really the Port Podesta you wanted? She didn't call him father.
Do you have any idea how many people we could save if our research were made public? Open your eyes, Marco. Look what's happening in Port Podesta. Is this the golden age you wanted?
These words are old. He heard them many years ago.
You always make things sound so simple.
You think 3 brain cells is supposed to be smart? That's like barely any. A brain's got so many cells in it. I've been to a lot of places these years. Battlefields, ruins, graves. She pauses. I've seen cities swallowed by the punishing virus, and I've seen people pull children from the rubble of those cities. 3 is more than most, you know? A lot of people out there with just 1 or 2, is what you're saying? Death takes a lot from us, but the ones who survive still keep moving forward. She lifts her gaze to Tavis. It's because I've been through all of that I'm standing here now. Also, listen to her, because I feel like what we're getting here is that, she has, been on battlefields and in dangerous situations, and you haven't. And she's being like, yeah, Dad, I've seen a lot of people die. I think I know what they would want. I think I know that the dead people wouldn't want this. Your dogs share one between them and fight over who gets to not have it. That makes it seem like they want to not... They want to not have it. They want to be brainless. Port Podesta shouldn't be a tomb, even if that tomb holds everyone you've ever loved. Tavis gives a cold laugh, The blue light on his suit pulses on and off. You're not the only one in this world who lives with regret, Father.
If you truly understand regret, then you should be trying to change it. Once death itself is conquered, there'll be no divide between the living and the dead. You'll understand then.
They're the dumbest animals you've ever had the pleasure of meeting. That sounds cute. I like when little animals are stupid. It's cute.
After all, you are my daughter too.
His fingers find his battlesuit's panel and press a sequence of keys. Not a sequence of keys. From somewhere deep in the hub, blue light begins to bleed outward. Like a rising tide, it washes over the ground, up the walls, across every inch of metal beneath their feet. They weaponize it. They weaponize their dumbness, their idiocy, their foolishness. Countless tiny specks of light begin to drift in the air. They pull toward one another, gathering, tracing silhouette after silhouette.
A shame. I had hoped you would stand beside me to see it.
Commandant! Their foolishness and their cuteness? Well, cuteness is easy to weaponize, I would say. Helentine tightens her grip on the buzzsaw. The weapon roars to life, sparks flying from its teeth as she walks toward her father. Years severed by death, stretched by regret, and forcibly stitched together by obsession, now collide at last. One seeks to haul the past back from the ruins into the land of the living. The other has learned that those who truly live can only carry the weight of irreversible loss and keep walking. Even the scent of morning flowers must finally shatter in the clash of steel. Dad, fight.
He's manipulating the space around us.
Oh. The energy transmission device above the battlefield will activate during combat and fire multiple powerful lightning strikes toward the center of the battlefield. Be sure to dodge them, otherwise you will take massive damage. Make good use of the shields generated on the site to avoid damage. Okay.
It is you after all.
Oh hey, he's got a buzzsaw thing too.
Helentine, why do you refuse Saphira's gift?
Because you're stupid. Okay. Oh. The final hit of an overdrive move ignores normal dodge. Use Threshold Surge to perfectly dodge the final hit of an overdrive move, after which you enter the threshold state. Okay. What button is this?
Father! It's time to wake up from yesterday's dream!
Since you all do understand, you can experience it for yourselves.
Slicing through death! I offer you a dirge, a deadly snuff, ignorant lies. Your chapter is ending!
Oh my.
Watch your surroundings! Disabling the pain sensors.
Ah! I'm safe.
All these years of torment! You're the one who can.
There, now stay down. A berry just for you. Disabling the pain. Ignorant lies. Your chapter is ending.
Obstinate fool!
You're insane. Poor Podesta will be engulfed by the red tide.
Once my plan succeeds, whether it's you or Ophelia, you'll both forgive me!
No, I don't think they will.
Stop dwelling on the past. You're not the only one who's hurting, Father.
You have no right to stand
Oh my.
here and deny me.
Father. The time for farewell has come.
Ah! Uh-oh.
We'll have to end this quickly. A burial just for you. This might sting. Resistance. I'm good. Disabling the pain sensors.
Oh, I don't think I did it right.
Ignorant lies. Your chapter is ending.
Is this all you can do?
Slicing through death. I offer you. Watch your surroundings.
I will end all sufferings! No one can stop me!
This is the end, Father. A dirge. A deadly snuff. Ignorant lies. Your chapter is ending. Slicing through death. I offer you this final silence. A dirge. A deadly snuff.
Okay.
Ignorant lies. Your chapter is ending. A burial just for you.
Helentine!
Oh, his like model was like broke. Like the suit was broken. They showed the real titty. The outermost armor plates crack first, then fall away piece by piece like burnt husks. Tavis stumbles a few steps, then sinks onto one knee. It's time to wake up from your dream. Standing before him, Helentine slowly lowers her buzzsaw. She looks at her father without a word. Piece by piece, the failing suit peels back, and what remains is a man grown old, exhausted, and obstinate to the edge of tragedy. Wait! Luke, Helentine, this thing won't stop! Leia fumbles with the central terminal, but the data on the screen won't move. It would have been funny if they deflated? Oh, like his... Oh. Like his muscles deflated. Okay. Do we have enough time? Do we have enough time to track? I can't talk. Damn it. Do we have enough time to crack the terminal? No. There's no time. Everything's locked down.
What kind of researcher leaves himself a way out?
A smart one?
I've welded every bit of energy I pulled from the Saphira into this city's bones. So whether it's this city or the Saphira itself, neither one is stopping now.
A deep roar sounds from the hub. The city is making its final push toward land.
Once the Veil Rain falls, once I bring it all back, then everyone will understand.
Out at sea, the shadow of the colossal whale falls across the last line of defense. It's less than 50 kilometers away from Constellia now. The flame Crassus sparked is fading now, dulled by the long, punishing clash. Hands swinging makeshift weapons grow slow. The casualties keep climbing. Swathed in red tide, the city races toward the abyss. One by one, the sparks that had just been kindled are swallowed back into the crimson glow. At the heart of the battlefield, Helentine's eyes come to rest on the half-Saphira. Along its veins of light, the patterns of the philo tree flicker and shift. The Saphira's authority. Helentine mutters to herself. I'll lend you what's left of my consciousness. Parts of me are already woven into your mind. It won't be difficult to connect. This part of me, which is still linked to the Saphira. Through it, you can temporarily seize partial control of the understanding Saphira. If this is something I can do. Ophelia's parting words echo through her again. If this is what you wanted, Ophelia. What comes after, you'll have to do on your own. I'm just someone left behind in the past, but you still have a future. Your own future. My own future. Go now, Helentine. If this is what it costs to reach the future. Helentine raises her buzzsaw and swings it down with force. The glass encasing the Saphira shatters at once. Shards rain down, exposing the half-Saphira still pulsing inside, its light flickering unsteadily.
Helentine! You don't know what you're touching!
Helentine!
The weight of the past. I'll carry it.
She reaches out and presses her hand against the half-Saphira, its light pulsing weakly. A flood of information crashes into her mind like a dam breaking. Every memory of her life, what she treasured, what she could not let go of, what she was too ashamed to talk about, what she could barely recall. The city. Every person beside her. Faces she could never name, only glimpsed at the edge of her memory. The temperature of a distant star collapsing. A mother's hand. A child's cry. The boundaries of her mind are peeled back layer by layer, as if countless hands reach in from the depths, tearing at her memories, her senses, her emotions, her very existence. The weight of the whole world presses down. She tries to push back, but the line between herself and someone else has already dissolved. From the moment humanity first grasped the idea of understanding, its boundaries have stretched ever outward. From the simplest meals of daily life, to songs of courage and exultation, and at last to the stars and the cosmos beyond. Understanding is a mirror. In the world's noise and riot, it shows humanity its own reflection. Once enough knowledge was gathered, understanding turned inward and finally came to rest on humanity itself. Every collapsing star, every echo of a civilization, every distant thing beyond her ability to name. In the end, what reflects back is only the seemingly endless cycle of ordinary human life on this planet. Steam rising from a breakfast table in the morning, a slant of afternoon sunlight across a windowsill, laughter scattered by a summer night's wind, and a goodbye left unspoken at a moment of parting. She sees her mother humming a soft tune beside her ear and Ophelia's, a melody she thought she had long since forgotten. Then the funeral. Her father, dry-eyed, looking at the photograph and looking and looking. Then the battlefield soaked black with vital fluid and blood. Grievances, suffering, defiance, regret. She has walked through so many places and listened to so many voices.
You could have gone back for her. Why didn't you?
Please, is there any more food? Just a little. I have to go back. Her body's still out there. No one cares if we live or die. No one. I don't want to die. I'll learn to be like you and not trouble anyone. These voices belong to billions of others, every one of them human, just as she is. Billions of defiant cries, regrets, and agonies, all refracted through a single mirror and converging onto her alone. Time breaks across her body. Past and future fracture into endless shards, and in every piece, a different memory plays at once. I have my sister to thank. Through her, you already knew of me. But unlike the price you paid, it is only through this body that I can stand before you here. That is precisely our purpose. I paid the price to warn you, you as an overseer, that change is coming. You would do well to master the rules of this world through the Philo tree, and soon. Oh! Ah! Thanks for the raid, Cole! How's it going? How was the rest of your stream? Holy smokes! Yeah, how was the rest of your stream? I hope you had a nice time. I'm glad I was able to peek in earlier and see some of your artwork. Hi, Dead. Is that how I should say your name? Dead. It's a little like crying emoticon and then dead. Dead. I did show up at an interesting time. Right, for those who don't know, I showed up right when Cole was showing off the muscles on the art he drew. And I was just like, ooh, muscles. And I can call you Dead. Okay. Cyberpunk was an awesome time? Good. I said cyberpunk, and then I was like, wait, no, it's cyberpunk. But then I read it right. So no, it was cyberpunk. That was my thought process there for a moment. Yeah, so I'm just doing the last part of this new PGR story chapter. I just did the boss fight a little bit ago. Speaking of which, the boss also had big big man titties. Oh, and you thought that too about the title? Glad I'm not alone. We might still be able to see his man titties soon. But I did beat the boss already. The crushing weight dismembers her consciousness, and she slowly drowns in the roaring chaos. In a single instant, the full burden crashes down. Your nerves twist as if carved by blades. Even breathing carries the acrid smell of something burning. Every tremor in your muscles sends pain cascading through your entire body. Yeah, the boss had big man titties. We might get to see him again soon, but right now we're in the mental torment zone. The young woman before you is enduring an agony beyond words. Energy level abnormal. Warning. Saphira energy level abnormal. There he is.
You.
He's wearing this battle suit, and it's got massive titties on it. Yeah, I'm just staying here for a moment to let you get a good look. Also, I didn't notice it at first because the titties are so arresting. But this battle suit of his also has like crazy biceps. Also, there's a phrase that I hadn't thought about before. The titties are arresting. That's an interesting phrase. Yeah, I hadn't noticed before, but the biceps on here, crazy. Look at that. Like look at that bulge. Okay, Dad. Bye-bye. Thank you for coming by. And yeah, that's fine. I'm glad you came to say hi. You have an idea you want to Photoshop with this guy now, and it's not what I think. Well, I didn't have an idea, so I don't know what you think I think. But I guess it's definitely not that, since I don't have any idea. The man struggles to stand, desperately trying to ready his battlesuit's mounted weapons. He kind of be looking like a transformer? Yeah, I get that. I've been comparing him to Batman. Not happening! Binding straps lash out and twist around his arms, holding him fast where he stands. The world feels submerged in scalding seawater, its edges softening, blurring, trembling apart. Her consciousness is crammed past its limits, flooded with too much information. Years of suffering buried inside this city stir like a tide churning sand, rising dark and murky once more. She tries to speak, but every word and every sound escaping her throat belongs to someone else. A mother's weeping, a child's cry, a name murmured by a dying soldier, one that will never be answered again. The sound of tent flaps whipped by the wind in a refugee camp at night, and the silent trembling behind them. Who am I? She feels herself breaking apart, piece by piece. She is shattering into dust, into echoes, into the tears of strangers she has never met. She reaches for the blue light hovering so close, almost within her grasp. But her body no longer obeys. Then a voice, faint but stubborn, cuts through the roaring tide from the farthest edge of her consciousness and finds her. Helentine, you don't have to bear everything alone. She feels a gentle push from someone. It's a blessing sent from the past. I found you. Helentine. She feels someone gently holding her. It's a protection born from the present. The blue light descends once more through the chaos. Shaking, she stretches out her hand and seizes it by the thinnest margin. But this single act drains what little consciousness she has left. She staggers on the verge of collapse. From the furthest depths of her consciousness, a shape steps forward. The one she knows most intimately and least of all, her own self. It's not the time to give up yet. You're who I used to be? The figure from the past raises her head, offers a gentle smile, and lifts the half Saphira for her once more. Not anymore. I'm just the shadow you kept in your notebook. The past you couldn't look at straight on. The person you've been trying to become and running from all at once. Helentine's gaze falls on those hands, the same as hers, but steadier. Blue light seeps through the cracks of the Saphira, casting both their silhouettes in flickering light. Helentine, you don't need to chase me anymore. You've already gone further than I ever did. But I don't know if I can keep going. I understand. Becoming Helentine is hard, isn't it? But don't feel lost, Helentine. If the sorrow feels too heavy to bear alone, try to share the weight with others. Ophelia is still with you. So are Luke, Leia, Wynne, Grazis, and everyone in Port Podesta who's still waiting for tomorrow to come. You also have me. I won't let you bear all of it alone. Does sharing it really make it weigh less? You already know the answer, Helentine. Because you are me. Helentine gives a small, resigned smile. Now let me stand with you, while you do what only you can do. The road ahead may not have me on it, or Ophelia, and many more may say goodbye to you along the way. But that's all right. I know you can walk it on your own. So go, Helentine. Go face the reality that brings both pain and joy. The figure from the past slowly embraces her as she stands in the present. The two silhouettes of Helentine merge with the blue threads of light, becoming one. In this moment, the figure she once chased desperately, the past self she used as a measure for everything she did, is no longer a chain around her. The young woman's hands close around the handle of her buzzsaw. The living of Port Podesta. The dead of Port Podesta. Those whose names she still carries, and those she has already forgotten. Those she brushed past, and those she could never hold on to. All that understanding now settles onto the buzzsaw. All that weight presses down in one direction. Together. Let's cut through this dream woven from the past. The noise, grief, pain, and chaos that once burned through her have not disappeared. But something has gently pushed them aside, clearing a path for her to step forward. She opens her eyes and faces the bitter reality once more. The young woman's mind still seethes, but she has taken hold of the half Saphira called understanding. Even as blue cracks spread like veins through the fractures in her frame. Understanding. She hears it now. She hears the moments when countless names were written down. All the goodbyes left unspoken. All the tears swallowed alone. All the sorrow piled up in silence. But that can't be all you hear. So she hears more. She hears music drifting through a certain night. The simple clink of ceramic and metal at mealtimes. Countless moments of laughter and grumbling in everyday life. Voices of people caring for each other, offering warmth and understanding. Now this is the humanity you should understand. That is what it means to be human. Always suffering over farewells. Always looking back at things that can never be taken back. But also, always finding happiness. Remembering small, meaningless things. Feeling joy from simply eating something good. Gazing up at the stars on some ordinary night for no reason at all. No matter what happens, people have to keep living. Even if longing drifts through their days like a phantom dream. Even if pain wraps around their lives like the tide. As long as they are alive, sorrow and pain will slowly be diluted, inch by inch, by the small and tender moments of everyday life. As long as they live on, carrying the responsibility to the dead, they can always see tomorrow for those who are already gone. Oh, there's a fly. I don't know if it's gone. I feel like once I start talking again, it's gonna come back. As long as they live on, carrying the responsibility to the dead. Human history will always carry everyone's longing and press forward. For the first time, the Saphira's pulse falters. The blinding torrents of light, once wild and raging, suddenly freeze in place. From deep within the blue glow, a voice she knows intimately reaches her. Do you want to know Helentine's future? No, I'll see it for myself. The road ahead won't be easy. It's the road I chose. I'll find the answers myself. The cradle of all consciousness. But as life multiplied and diverged, that once connected them to the roots. The fruit will soon be ripe.
Helentine!
A low, mournful cry rises from the hold of Port Podesta. Go now, and understand who you are. Stop! Now! Hear me, you who steer the helm of all mortals, and give to all holy time. The chaotic torrents of light suddenly stall. All of Port Podesta feels like it has been seized by something immense, and a long, low moan escapes the city. The anomalous signals still radiating outward, and the advance commands locked in place finally show clear deviation for the first time. The understanding of death and life has been etched into that fading light. The roar deep within her mind has not fully ceased, but the sensation of being torn apart finally begins to recede, slowly. But, O Blessed One, I ask that you draw near to me for long stretches of life. I didn't get that other achievement. Understanding. Time, something. Location, something. Identity information, something resolved. Science Council Chief Technician, Dominic. patriarch of the Urhorn family of the Transatlantic Economic Community, Arius Urhorn. Lacked a vessel, so you chose yourself. Oh, the fly's back.
It's you, Dominic. Of course. How could it be anyone else? This miserable end I've come to. I suppose it's only... Isn't it? What's happening outside right now? How is it? Many people died because of you. Don't tell me you're killing them. You still have a chance to live. Even if only for a moment. I saw it. Everything. Tell me, Dominic, if it were you, could you bear the... Don't speak. You're badly wounded. That's enough. Humans. So fragile.
You think it was, I love everything. Yeah. I'm guessing it was, I understood everything. Okay, we've got just 2 more little things left. Although they might not be so little. Yeah, he's here too. He's in the book. Both young him and older him in his Batman suit. Oh. That's cute. Baptism for the dead. The brief, illusory dream of the Golden Age is drawing to a hasty close. The near-frenzied roar of Port Podesta finally collapses into a long, low moan, like a colossal beast caught by the throat. Within the hub, the chaotic energy flows subside in gentle, descending waves. The light strips fade inside the walls, and the alarms no longer scream. Only broken, intermittent chimes remain, flickering wearily through the empty control room. The moment the young woman begins to fall, you rush behind her on pure instinct. Crimson vital fluid seeps slowly from somewhere on her body, trickling down along the fissures of her damaged frame.
Look. Did it work?
Port Podesta has stopped. We did it, Helentine. Helentine lifts her head. She lets out a relieved breath, then turns her gaze toward the Saphira. As you steady Helentine to her feet, the 2 of you hear Tavis roaring from the other side of the battlefield. Leia's final blow staggers Tavis backward. He collides with a wall, slides down, and his knees slam hard against the ground. He looks up and sees Luke, Leia, and Helentine. He can feel it too. Port Podesta is grinding to a halt. He has failed.
Do you have any idea what you've just done?
He spits out a mouthful of blood and tries to rise, only to slip back down.
The understanding, Saphira. This veil rain.
Suddenly, he freezes and glances behind him. Something flickers in the darkness, gone before anyone else can notice.
Huh.
Leia, are you alright? Yeah. Disarm the old man. He's done.
I'm Batman.
She pulls back her light whip and tilts her chin toward the Saphira. So, we're taking that Saphira, right? Yeah, we can't leave here. A faint rustling stirs from deep within the shadows.
It's you.
Huh? In the next instant, something shrieks through the air above you and Helentine. Crimson tendrils of condensed punishing virus lance down from the corners of the ceiling. Simultaneously, the reinforced concrete wall by the experimental chamber comes apart, shattering into jagged chunks that fly at the three of you. Luke! Helentine instinctively tackles both of you to the ground. Leia's light whip lashes out a moment later, sweeping aside the first wave and buying everyone a brief moment to breathe. As the smoke slowly clears, Leia's eyes widen sharply. Though I encountered some complications along the way. As the dust settles, the experimental chamber that once held the Saphira stands utterly empty. Seems like I still arrived precisely when I had intended to. The attacker hovers on the far side of the room. The half Saphira from the experimental chamber now spins slowly in his palm, its deep blue glow spilling across the sharp lines of his gaunt face. Shocked? I would have thought you'd grown accustomed to the dead refusing to stay dead by now. It has been a long time. You've come quite far, Leia. Wait, he knows Leia? She did say she was here on personal business. Is she from the TEC? What if she's part of the Urhorn family? Unfortunately, I have no leisure for nostalgia today. Arius! Arius? You stare at that gaunt face. The genius from the Urhorn family of the Transatlantic Economic Community, who once rivaled Dominic. The name alone carries decades of history, compressed into legend. And now he stands before you. A faint smile crosses his lips. Then his gaze drifts to the Saphira in his hand. Do not mistake my purpose here. You were never the target. He steps forward. The wisps of the punishing virus drifting around him gather into ripples of crimson. Though I do owe you a debt of gratitude. You, together with the people of Port Podesta, have helped me thoroughly purge the residual consciousness clinging to the understanding Saphira. And now, the half of the understanding Saphira that slumbered in Podesta has returned to its rightful owner. It serves me now.
You mean Ophelia? You used the veil rain as well.
The gaunt man offers a thin, mocking smile. Spare me the comparison to your pathetic charade. He raises his hand. The red punishing virus gathers at his metallic fingertips, like 5 crimson droplets blooming into form. The agent in the Ascension Network chose me.
What?
Information such as Ophelia, parasitizing the Understanding Sephira, is a contaminant. Unless it wills its own erasure, it persists, like a ghost impossible to expunge. Which is why you performed so admirably, Helentine. The indispensable element of my design. My carefully selected protagonist.
Ophelia's choice is not yours to define.
Mechanical spiders lurking in the shadows spit silver threads, but the red energy coiling around Arius dissolves the attack with ease. Earning the Understanding Sephira's recognition is noteworthy, I admit. However, the Ascendant touches the Sephira, and a low hum resonates as rings of light ripple outward like waves. It is time for Understanding to choose a new master. He gently draws the still glowing Sephira toward him, and violent surges of energy ripple outward in every direction.
Stop!
Arius merely lifts his hand, and an overwhelming wave of energy slams Leia to the ground. The bullets streak through the air, but in the next instant, they freeze before Arius, suspended in midair like insects trapped in amber. Luke, I've heard of you. He casually brushes the frozen bullets aside and turns his gaze toward you with cold scrutiny. Allow me to demonstrate the authority of Understanding itself. Without warning, he drives the half-Sephira into his own chest. Suddenly, the space erupts with boundless color. Shockwaves ripple outward as a deep, resonant hum fills the air. Bathed in blinding light, he sweeps his hand across the ground. The concrete and rebar beneath him break apart into their smallest molecular structures, then reshape and reform at his command. Thousands of tons of concrete and rebar dissolve in an instant, then coalesce into a colossal sphere, held aloft by an invisible force. And this is only half of the Sephira? Rubble and twisted rebar orbit the main body like planetary rings. I now perceive the architecture of all existence. He sweeps his arm, and the rubble comes hurtling toward your group. Helentine steps forward, her buzzsaw roaring as it tears through the rubble. Beside her, Leia rises and lashes out with her light whip, intercepting the coming barrage. Let me show you more. Before he can finish, 3 distinct attacks cut into the battlefield from different directions. A beam from composite armaments pierces the massive sphere. A blazing light blade cleaves it apart in a single strike, and the Lotus Wheel intercepts every flying fragment. 3 familiar figures stand before you. Commandant! Commandant, you're safe now. We'll take it from here. Confirmed Ascendant target. Weapons ready. Give us the order, Commandant. Grey Raven, take out the hostile Ascendant. Understood. The 3 members of Grey Raven snap into formation and charge at Arius without hesitation. Grey Raven. I've heard the name for years. A pity. I have no intention of squandering time on you. Arius evades Lee's opening volley and summons more crimson tendrils of punishing virus, coiling them around his body. This building still houses plenty of worthless souls. Let this farce at Port Podesta end here. The Saphira embedded in his chest erupts with an even greater brilliance, as if the entire tidal hub is about to come crashing down. We didn't say you could leave. A searing light tears through the radiant glow. Lucia's pyrokatana cuts down every obstacle in her path as she closes in on Arius. With a reversal of her grip, she drives the blade straight through his chest. Crimson vital fluid sprays into the air as Arius's body plummets downward.
Meddlesome.
In the next instant, countless crimson tendrils surge upward, laced with the Saphira's radiance, flooding toward the wound and swallowing his body whole. His body dissolves into glowing crimson particles, slipping free from the pyrokatana and seeping into the cracks of the crumbling building. In the blink of an eye, amid the violent tremors, Arius vanishes without a trace, taking the Saphira with him. Should we go after him, Commandant? I'm picking up over 10 unconscious humans deeper inside. Diplomatic court personnel. This building's coming down. Grey Raven, clear the red tide projections. Priority is the survivors. Understood. Tavis remains slumped against the wall, fine steel dust drifting down from above as he stares blankly at everything unfolding before him.
Now you walk away empty-handed too.
Leia coils her light whip into a loop, walks over, and casts a glance down at him. Hey, old man. Look on the bright side. We've still got you, don't we? He stays motionless, kneeling on the ground in a stupor.
From the beginning, even I was nothing more than someone else's instrument, used until the very end.
Why do you villain types always save the big speech for the finale? Up, now! This place is coming down!
Go on. Take your laughable victory and go. I'll stay here. I'll go down with everything this city was. You could never understand me. Understand Port Podesta. Understand the TEC.
Tavis rambles on without pause. Helentine moves in front of him and looks toward you at her side. Mm-hmm.
You have no right to judge me. You don't.
The mechanical spider shoots out a specialized web in an instant, sealing the man's mouth before binding his limbs tight. She then glances at you beside her and at Leia, who stares back in stunned disbelief. Okay. She exhales slowly, shakes out her hand, and says nothing. Wow. I'll carry him. Let's move. That's one way to tell him to shut up. Lithos and John Doe stand on a half-collapsed observation deck, gazing out at the city in the distance as it struggles against the punishing virus.
Arius slipped away. Mercy is not a look you wear often, Lithos.
Lithos sighs, the sound as soft as the whisper of a turning page. Tavis, that man is far too fixated on death.
Does this outcome disappoint you?
Disappoint? No. Let's call it an instructive experiment. Humans are such contradictory creatures. They mourn death, yet they tremble at the thought of rising above it. Even with the path laid clear before them, they hesitate, waver, or even refuse it outright. All that pride Tavis has clung to. I regret it for him. Yes, regret. That's also part of the assignment Mister left me. Lithos lifts his eyes toward the phantoms of the past crumbling before him, then shifts his gaze to the collapsing tidal hub.
And what about you? Aureus made off the Saphira. The Veil Rain is in ruins. No sense of loss.
None. My hypotheses have been validated in more ways than one. We are one step closer to the truth, Yunjin.
You've promised me the truth many times, Lithos.
Patience. You've already witnessed a piece of it, haven't you? And besides, Margaret hasn't truly died. Her state is no different from Arius's after his own death. He pauses briefly and glances at the dark green figure beside him. If the information inside the punishing virus can truly be extracted in reverse. He looks away and picks up his gentle humming again. Time to go, Yunjin. So Margaret could come back. Okay. Crassus sits on the ground, gasping for air. The crowbar beside him is bent beyond recognition. He tosses it aside, and it clangs dully against the ground. Boss, is it over? Vic hobbles over, his leg clearly hurt, and drops down next to him.
I think so. Port Podesta stopped moving.
He lifts his head and takes in the city around them. The outlines of buildings from decades past, draped across the city like a mask, slowly begin to fade as though the color is draining away. Hi, Yue! How are you? I hope you're having a good day. We're getting close to the end of this chapter. The old lights glowing behind the glass facades of the high-rises go out one by one. The streets, washed clean by rain within the illusion, now reclaim the potholes and tire tracks carved into them over decades of exposure. Ooh, you had ice cream? What kind of ice cream did you have? And my day was alright. I had some sleep difficulties, but aside from that, it was fine, you know?
Yeah.
Crassus braces his hands on his knees and rises, his legs still trembling. He uses the crowbar as a makeshift crutch, straightens up, and gazes toward a street deep within the port district. Yeah, insomnia fucking sucks. Sometimes you go to bed tired and you still can't sleep. That's what happened to me last night.
There's still time. I can see it one last time.
He doesn't finish. Leaning on the crowbar, he walks toward that familiar place, each step feeling like a journey into the past. The road he has walked for half his life now stretches endlessly before him. Hopefully tonight I'll get better sleep. Also, I know you said insomnia wrecks you too. I don't know if it did. recently, but if it did, I hope you get good sleep too. I mean, even if it didn't, I hope you get good sleep. The brief, illusory dream of the Golden Age is drawing to a hasty close. The departed, granted a fleeting return, are scattered across every corner of Port Podesta, saying their final goodbyes to those they still hold dear in this world. A young woman collapses by the roadside, clutching her mother as the old woman's form slowly dissolves into particles of light. Her screams tear through the air, raw and desperate. She grips that dissolving hand with all her strength, as if holding on tightly enough might keep the fading warmth inside a body that no longer belongs to this world. He walks past the woman without stopping, across the street, at an apartment entrance. An old man stands frozen in the doorway of his own home, now so unfamiliar. The door hangs open. Inside the room that should be empty, his children from years past smile back at him. In his hands, he holds the canned goods he was meant to collect from the relief station decades ago. The bag tears open, and the cans clatter and roll across the ground. Behind the old man, a young boy chases a wisp of rising yellow light, running far down the street and around the corner. His laughter drowns out the old man's choked sobs. Crassus doesn't linger. He quickens his pace, weaving through the crowd. Cross this street, turn past the tram station whose glow is slowly fading, and there it is. Home. Made it. The marks of the Golden Age have yet to fade. The plate on the door remains just as it was decades ago. Emerald vines climb the walls. The window frames look brand new, without a trace of rust. Through the glass, he can see the blue and white curtains Lorraine hung before. Once more, he stands before the door from decades past. Inside, he can hear Lorraine and Enid. Lorraine. Enid. He raises his hand, knuckles hovering just before the door. One knock, and Lorraine will hear him. One knock, and the door to that bygone life will swing open for him once more. Even if only for a moment. Mom, will Dad come back? Dad has things he needs to take care of. He'll be back tomorrow before you know it. Tomorrow. Through the shimmering mirage, Lorraine looks up at him and returns a gentle smile. Crassus's hand freezes. He doesn't knock on that door to the past. Instead, he turns around and breaks into a run. The crowbar is gone, lost somewhere along the way. His legs still tremble, and his lungs burst as though filled with molten iron. He runs back the way he came. By the roadside, the young woman releases her grip at last. The final trace of light escapes her fingers. She sinks to the bare ground, folding into a tight ball, and wails. He runs past the open apartment door. The old man has gone. Inside, his children pick up the long-expired cans from the street corner and bring them home. He catches up to the boy chasing fireflies. The light has vanished. The boy stands still, staring up at a sky that holds no more light. He runs on. His mouth is parched, and his legs are failing him. A coppery tang fills his throat. He doesn't stop. At last, he reaches the cemetery, No gate, no walls, not a soul in sight. One large and one small. 2 gravestones stand side by side. The larger one bears Lorene's name, the smaller, Enid's. That's where Crassus stops. He stands before the 2 gravestones, motionless for a long moment, until the chill sea breeze seeps into his collar. He pulls the bottle from his coat, unscrews the cap, and raises it to his lips. The smell of alcohol drifts up with the sea air. He pants heavily. His lungs feel stuffed with damp cotton. The sea breeze cuts through his collar, sharp and cold. He pulls out the half-empty bottle from his coat, twists off the cap, and takes a swig. The alcohol sears down his throat like a blade scraping against raw flesh. A cough erupts from him, then another, until he is seized by a fit so violent it folds him at the waist. The bottle tumbles from his fingers and spills its remains across the dirt. He coughs on, breathless and shaking. You don't drink, Crassus. Lorene's voice cuts through his mind. Oh, nice job, Neo. You beat the case and incarcerated the killer. I don't know why I said it like that. I feel like I was trying to, channel a cartoon, but it just came out sounding weird. Alcohol smells gross, Dad. Don't go sneaking drinks. I can always tell. Then comes Enid's. The sea wind howls, swallowing his choked sobs in yet another fit of coughing. The killer survived the sniper shot. I see. He survived to be put in jail, I assume. Then his tears fall before the 2 gravestones. Wynne stands atop a half-collapsed residential building, watching Port Podesta slowly settle into silence. The rain has stopped. With the veil of rain gone, the Golden Age phantoms fade away as well. Behind her, the central signal tower, once the landmark of Port Podesta, is once again consumed by rust. Helentine, you really did it. Through the lens, she catches sight of Luke, Helentine, Leia, and the others as they step out from the tidal hub's shadow. She presses the shutter. This is the beginning of something new for this city. She lowers her camera and studies the image captured within. It is only then that she notices her own body growing fainter, slowly dissolving like colors bleeding from old film. Leia, Helentine, Luke. Guess I'm not getting that goodbye after all. She fires off shot after shot, trying to capture everything around her. As death's embrace draws near once more, she feels neither fear nor sadness. In this moment, only one thought occupies her mind: whether these photographs might serve as proof that she lived. Proof that a reporter named Wynne was born in this city, died here, and returned, briefly yet brilliantly, under the hopeful gazes of others. She turns to the signal tower beside her. the landmark she once knew by heart. Still need one more group shot. She raises her camera again. This time she turns around. Behind her stand Ophelia, Lorene, Enid, Vic's elderly mother. Countless figures just like her, young and old, from every era. They returned briefly to this land they once loved, and now their forms are fading, little by little, dissolving into particles of light. Guys, if we're saying goodbye, let's make sure we're smiling. Let the world know the dead have just as much right to face death with courage as anyone. This is the last photo. As the shutter clicks back into place, the camera slips from her hands, now turning into light, and hits the ground. And she, along with everyone behind her, fades into Port Podesta's dimming sky, as if they had never existed at all. Only the smiling faces captured in the viewfinder remain, still vivid and alive. Asimov stands before a wall-sized projection screen, watching the latest residual data from Port Podesta scroll across its surface. The real challenge with Tavis's research. It came down to fidelity, replicating a human consciousness with enough accuracy, while preserving the uniqueness that anchors the cognitive foundation. Hassan sits in silence at the far end of the long table, his fingers laced together. He was already chasing this decades ago. The fundamental bottleneck in his mind replication technique was always data volume. At a physical level, there simply isn't enough data in the world to replicate a consciousness with any meaningful precision. He taps the screen, and a waveform expands across the display.
So he went to an agent.
It would seem so. And based on Grey Raven's field report, Arius and Dominic left behind a reverse compilation framework after their collaboration. And Tavis used the half of the understanding Saphira housed in Port Podesta as the translation tool. Such a waste. Hassan pinches the bridge of his nose, then falls silent for a moment.
I see. Thank you, Asimov.
Hassan nods, signaling the end of the report. Asimov dismisses the holographic screen, rises from his seat, and leaves. I take it you're finished? The door is left open. List seems to have been waiting at the doorway for some time. Are you ready to hear the diplomatic court's proposal for Port Podesta?
Go ahead, Counselor List.
We've consulted with the military. The path forward is this. Babylonia will assist the local citizenry in establishing a self-governing body to administer the city. Some resistance from the locals is to be expected, of course, but with the Ascendant threat before us, all such concerns defer to military necessity. In the case against Tavis, Port Podesta's administrative chief is airtight. Clear evidence of collusion with an agent, and Grey Raven has already taken him into custody. Reconstruction and regional governance cannot proceed without Babylonia's support and resources. It took us a detour, but the destination remains the same.
Anything else?
We've reached an agreement with the military. Port Podesta is to serve as a temporary strategic stronghold. As for the particulars of Tavis's research, we will continue to gather intelligence and submit our findings to the Science Council for evaluation. The Transatlantic Economic Community's historical technical assets carry implications across multiple domains. After thorough deliberation, We believe this arrangement serves all parties.
I see. Approved.
After Hassan met with representatives from each department in succession, the artificial sky deepens into night, and the president's office finally falls quiet. Hassan sets aside the documents he just signed. His gaze drifts to an old, fading photograph on the wall. A group photo of world government officials from the Trillard era. The people in the photograph wear uniforms of a bygone era, standing on an Earth not so far away. The military's direct line cuts in.
Grey Raven's latest intel confirms it. Half of the Saphira, codenamed Understanding, is now in an Ascendant's hands. Target identified as Arius Urhorn, Patriarch of the Urhorn family, Golden Age Transatlantic Economic Community. Official records had him listed as dead at the Atlantic Calamity site. How he became an Ascendant is still unknown. Which agent is he tied to? Based on the Science Council's intelligence database, signs point to Aisling.
Hassan falls silent for a moment, his eyes still fixed on the photograph before him.
The archive access you requested. Is that connected to all this?
A soft sigh comes through from the commander on the other end.
Hassan, during the post-pandemic age, the world government made a concerted effort to have Dominic's research either sealed away or destroyed. Remember what I told you? Trillard left behind files and recordings to guide the presidents who came after him, but too much of the crucial content has been lost. Intelligence managed to restore some of those files. Long story short, the Atlantic Calamity was man-made. Arius tried to forcibly harness the Understanding Saphira, and that's what set it off. During the disaster, the Understanding Saphira had already taken on a vessel. Was shattered in two. Dominic recovered one half and sealed the other half permanently deep inside the Atlantic Eye. To keep the Atlantic Eye from turning into a global catastrophe, Dominic activated an emergency system called Ananke. No one knows how it works. What we do know is the entire dam was frozen at the exact moment of detonation. It defies common sense. But Absolute Zero was also one of Dominic's fields of study. And how did the half Dominic recovered end up in Port Podesta? From what we can tell, Dominic never told anyone where the Understanding Saphira was stored. That secret died with him when he disappeared in the later reactor incident. Dominic chose not to turn it over to Babylonia. There must have been a reason. Maybe. But what we need to focus on now is the next move of Aisling's group. Everything points to the same place. Their target is the Atlantic Eye, where the other half of the Understanding Saphira is. What's the military's countermove? The Atlantic Calamity left behind severe weather anomalies. Air deployment anywhere near the Atlantic Eye is off the table, and naval interdiction is our only option. We've raised the Atlantic region to maximum alert. Significant forces are already searching for Arius. Half a Saphira nearly brought Port Podesta to its knees. We cannot let the Ascendant anywhere near the other half inside the Atlantic Eye. The military will begin preparations for a naval interception. The Omega weapons have been delivered to Port Podesta. Under Grey Raven's supervision, we'll assemble an ocean fleet on site. Understood. But if they're openly after the Saphira, we need maximum protection on all Saphira frames as well.
I'll contact the front and have Liv return to Babylonia for the time being. And the data from the close-range exposure to the Understanding Sephira will also be critical. Hassan offers no response, his silence stretching on. Things are changing. A lot of old friends are waiting in the shadows, watching what choice we make here, Hassan. I need to know where you stand. Do you still hold to your original position on the philo tree? Hassan sinks into thought, his gaze fixed on Port Podesta flickering across the holographic display. I believe Asimov and Luke can deliver results that surpass Dominic's. I always have. That hasn't changed. The view pushes deeper, zooming past the coordinates until the post-disaster port fills the screen. Amid the ruins, a few lights flicker back to life. Balder Scale Model. This model faithfully recreates every design detail of the Balder, the TEC's heavy amphibious assault frigate. Assembled from the photo-etched metal parts and precision components, its onboard craft and radar arrays feature accurate color separation, perfectly capturing the imposing presence of the legendary warship. Commissioned at great expense by the Transatlantic during the Golden Age as an unsinkable vessel, the Balder was launched in the late Golden Age. Combining regional air defense, anti-submarine warfare, and precision land strike capabilities, it marked a new era in transatlantic military power projecting into the open seas. However, in 2150, as the world government confiscated military assets across the globe, the Balder was restricted to dry dock at the Port Podesta shipyard, placed under the stewardship of the Spellman family. Okay, just one more left. The Sabbath. And the stars of heaven fell unto the earth, even as a fig tree casteth her untimely figs, when she is shaken of a mighty wind. The ocean breeze drifts in from the port, heavy with the burnt scent of machinery and welding fumes, lashing cool against their faces. Inside the shipyard, 3 crane arms hoist the Balder's hull in unison. Welding sparks shower down from the deck like an inverted waterfall of gold. Vic, acetylene. Boss, take a break, yeah? The next shift's already clocked in. Crassus stays silent, his gaze lifting toward the workers scrambling to complete repairs in another section. Babylonia's still at it. You think Port Podesta is about to fall behind? The zipline shudders as a construct drops down from above. Aegina, engineering force. Full inspection's done. No major issues. Build standards are up to Babylonia spec. We may finish ahead of schedule. No surprise there. She was built before the punishing virus. We'll handle the weapons upgrades next, and portside repairs too. Aegina trails off mid-sentence, her eyes taking in the exhausted human standing before her. Whenever this happens, I always wonder if, like, they made a mistake with the character sprites, or if they're just being like, yeah, people can have different pronouns than what they look like they have. Take that. Okay, good night, Neo. I hope you have a good day at your beach day tomorrow. You are spent. Take a break.
Save it. The Balder is a TEC ship. We transatlantic people see our own work through. Babylonia doesn't come asking for help every day. Figured we'd show you what Port Podesta dock warriors are made of. Fine, just be careful. Be glad our captain's not around. She'd tear you a new one. Construct hits switch and rides the zipline back up. Boss, you really trust them? Vic leans against the hull, his voice dropping low. They only need us because they're after that Ascendant guy. Ship's fixed, then what? Who's to say they won't just... Vic, two winds crashing into each other don't move a sail. Crassus ducks his head and returns to his work. Shipyard lights are back on. Babylonia's reconstruction crew started tearing down the watchtowers and walls today. Luke's been here coordinating the rebuild and keeping the peace. Helentine fought hard for Port Podesta's autonomy. Real autonomy. Trust doesn't grow overnight. I'm not here to say who's right or wrong about everything. But at least Luke and Helentine do what they say they'll do. He reaches out and passes the wrench to the co-worker in front of him. I trust Luke. I trust Helentine. I trust what they're bringing to Port Podesta. He gazes toward the distant shipyard, where lights blaze through the night. The silhouette of a massive crane arm rises and falls slowly in the darkness, like some great creature stirring back to life. You and Helentine have just wrapped up an administrative meeting between Port Podesta and Babylonia. The incident has dealt a severe blow to Port Podesta and its surrounding region, but casualties remain mercifully low, and Grey Raven has successfully rescued the hostage diplomatic delegation. 23, 24. The two of you walk past the nameless graves. You and Helentine count the steps leading up to the cemetery together. Still 25. The cemetery remains unchanged, quiet and orderly, as though the departed have been tenderly tucked away in some undisturbed arrangement. The two of you stand before Ophelia's name once again. The rain has washed her tombstone clean, leaving it gleaming as if brand new. Helentine pauses in thought, then reaches for her diary, its pages somewhat yellowed with age. This may be the final entry I write on the subject. How to become Helentine.
Understanding yourself is no easy task. Even now, I can't say I fully know who I am. Sometimes I wonder whether my life truly belongs to me alone. It seems to belong to so many others. To my sister Ophelia. To my father who gave up so much for my sake. To the past Helentine, who seemed capable of anything and everything. It's strange. Simply being alive means wrapping yourself up in everyone else's expectations, whether you mean to or not. But even so, Helentine is still my name. This life is still mine. Some of these ideals I carry aren't ones I came to on my own. I know I borrowed them from the person I used to be. Even so, I think they're still worth holding on to. Worth Some of these ideals I carry aren't ones I came to on my own. I know I borrowed them from the person I used to be. Even so, I think they're still worth holding on to. Worth living by.
She stops writing and turns to look at you. How do you think I should end it, Luke? This is your own story, Helentine. She watches you, quiet for a moment, then her lips ease into a smile.
Oh, by the way, Ophelia, I figured something out. I'm not going to let the name Helentine trouble me anymore. I know the person I used to be was a genius, someone remarkable. I've tried and tried to catch up to her, pushed myself as hard as I could, and still, I always fell short. Standing in her shadow, I'd feel confused. I'd feel lost, like I don't know what I'm supposed to do. But I think to become a better version of myself, I don't actually need to measure up to her. All I can really do is grow a little better at the things within my reach and carry the pain on my own when I have to. My dear little sister, there's no need to fear being ordinary and dull. Maybe that's exactly the answer life gives. Only in the tedious, mundane rhythm of everyday things can we appreciate moments of surprise. So, I've let it go. I've stopped trying to become Helentine. In a future without answers, life still has to go on. That's just how it is, isn't it? There are people in this world who love us. People who need us. I think we must stay strong and keep living for every bit of that love and keep searching for our own answers along the way. And there's still so much I want to do. So many things I haven't done yet. So now, I must continue on my way.
The final stroke falls. The pen lingers on the page for a moment, and ink bleeds softly into the paper. Keep moving forward then, Helentine. A familiar voice flickers through her mind, gone as quickly as it came. When she comes back to herself, the hazy figure has already melted into the uneven rows of tombstones, impossible to pick out. Helentine? Luke, I used to always wonder, what would the old me have done? I thought that was what everyone wanted. My father, the family. All they ever saw, all they ever remembered, was the old Helentine. So I kept the diary. I pieced together who everyone thought Helentine was supposed to be. Ophelia included. Remember what she said? That the old Helentine, when it came to what others expected of her, she was so oblivious that it came all the way around to arrogance. But I think I misunderstood what she meant. She closes the notebook and cradles it gently against her chest. I'm only realizing it now. The moment she saw me open my eyes in that hospital bed, she already knew. The person standing in front of her was me. The person she saved was me. She didn't care who I used to be. She didn't care about me becoming whatever everyone else wanted. Helentine offers a serene smile, her eyes drifting toward the distant, clear sky. She wanted me to be myself. Not someone else, just a better version of who I am. So I'll keep moving forward. With her. With Port Podesta's past and its future. You're Helentine after all? She lifts her head. The wind blows in from the port, carrying the faint, briny scent of the sea. In the distance, the rebuilding city hums with scattered, busy sounds, as if this place that once died is finally breathing again. She begins walking once more, descending the stone steps one by one, 25 steps in total. The same age Helentine was when her life started over. Transports from Babylonia touch down in orderly succession, guided in by the ground crew. Omega weapons, secured inside transport containers, are distributed to every corner of the stronghold. After confirming the manifest with the staff and making sure everything is on track, you let out a long breath and step into a nearby tent with Lucia at your side. Lee pauses his equipment maintenance. Liv brings over a cup of coffee and places it in front of you. You've been working hard, Commandant. Thanks. I needed this. And for once, I got out of a situation without being hospitalized. You take the coffee and drink it down in one go. It is standard field rations, nothing more, but the temperature is perfect. Liv must have prepared it ahead of time.
Rest a minute. You're overdoing it.
Yeah. Commandant's already got everything lined up for later. Because I want to spend as much time with you all as I can before Liv has to head back. Your straightforward, gentle words bring a smile to all three faces at once. Now that I think about it, it's been a while since the last time we were all on the surface together. Once we get some leave, let's take a trip to Constellia. I wonder how Kiski's doing. Karenina mentioned that he sent his newest album to the engineering force. Probably up to something fun again. And that mechanoid Lee repaired.
Oh, that one.
Lee shakes his head, a hint of resignation on his face.
Even though its logic circuits are fixed, it still shows up at the crossroads at 3 a.m. sometimes, helping people make their wishes come true. I think it's gotten attached to the feeling.
In this brief moment of respite, the four of you trade the small, ordinary details of daily life. Gray ravens, tight as ever, huh? Leia's carefree voice rings out from behind. You turn to see her stepping into the tent, a scratched-up camera in one hand and the other raised in greeting. Her whole demeanor radiates a cheerfulness that doesn't quite match her appearance. A moment later, as if catching herself, she adjusts her posture and reins in that devil-may-care grin, now looking decidedly more ladylike. Still not used to this. Being a lady is seriously hard. You had heard about Vanessa putting Leia through a training program called the Ladylike Makeover, and Leia surprisingly seems to be enjoying every bit of it. I never got the chance to ask. During that battle, you and Arius... Before you can finish your question, a commotion erupts outside the tent.
What is that?
Everyone bursts out of the tent, eyes snapping to the horizon. Far away, a blazing light tears through the clouds. A fireball plummets from the heavens, plunging straight into the depths of the Atlantic and sending invisible tremors rippling across the ocean's surface. Even the ground beneath your feet shudders faintly, caught in the wake of the distant cataclysm. This is... While everyone's attention is fixed on the distant spectacle and chaos erupts around them, Leia slips away from prying eyes and quietly leaves the scene. The sea lies calm. A thin gray shell encases the air, as if someone has smeared a uniform layer of leaden clouds across the sky. Quietly, a barely visible red tendril surfaces, like a severed thread drifting slowly upward through the dark water. Then more red threads gather, creeping upward from the ocean depths, weaving together beneath the surface. Entangling, braiding, converging, taking shape. First, the outline of a skeleton. Then the crimson threads climb and weave the texture of muscle into place. Finally, like fabric being stitched, skin is cut and shaped to completion. The disciple rises anew above the Atlantic, his gaunt, pallid frame taking shape as the half-Saphira pulses in his chest like a living heart. Red threads continue weaving tirelessly into his body. He scales the peak along trails of crimson slime, yet even from this height, the towering barrier of the Atlantic Eye still blocks his line of sight. Wonders are always born in one of two moments. The first, when a new order rises, and wonders are raised to sing of its glory. The second, when the old order crumbles. His gaze never wavers from the direction of the Atlantic Eye. It is upon the wreckage of the old world that the shape of the future reveals itself. He lifts the broken communicator in his hand, the red glow of the punishing virus spilling from inside. Marlis, the plan proceeds. Tell your fellow defectors to move. He hangs up without waiting for an answer. Let this era bear witness to a corner of the wound that never healed. Dark clouds mass over the ocean, biding their time before the thunder's sudden crack. The Golden Age's relic has stood silent on the moon for years. Once, this was a production base established by the world government to build the miracle works of planetary transformation. Moonrock... what did I do? Oh, I just hid the UI. Okay. Moonrock Collection Station. Kinetic rails. Gravity compensation systems. Each ultra-high density aggregated moonrock cube was marked with a designation corresponding to delivery windows calibrated down to the second. Collection, crushing, aggregation, loading, firing. A skeleton forged from the moon traveled down the assembly line and was hurled with precision into the Atlantic basin below. Now, Norman Mining has taken over operations here. The facility still delivers construction materials to the surface, but the output has changed. No longer does it forge the bones of wonders, but rather the building blocks for conservation area reconstruction. This batch is... bridge piers. Report Podesta? The construction supervisor leans over the kinetic rail console in his spacesuit, checking the manifest for today's 4th delivery batch. He cross-references each item against the materials, one by one. He pauses. Who's responsible for this pod? Something doesn't add up. The delivery manifest reads, Grade 3 construction materials, standard moon rock, conservation area reconstruction exclusive. Yet the cargo already loaded into the orbital drop pod is labeled EOA, load-bearing foundation pillars. He sucks in a sharp breath. The latter are ultra-high-density aggregated moonrock cubes. Before now, materials of this grade had only ever served a single purpose: as the foundation for the greatest wonder ever built upon Earth's oceans, the Atlantic Eye. He checks and rechecks the kinetic rail's launch parameters. From what he learned in training, the potential energy generated by these specifications is enough to level all of Port Podesta. Wait, who's in charge of this pod? No one answers on the channel. He spins around and spots several figures in unmarked spacesuits, operating the loading valves on the far side of the rail control station. Stop! We're on cargo! Shut the loading valve! In the vacuum silence, a bullet punches clean through his skull. The blood sprays out in slow motion, like a film shot drawn out frame by frame. Crimson beads scatter one by one into the blackness of space. The shooter lowers his gun and takes the dead man's terminal. Construction supervisor here. All clear. Drop proceeding as scheduled. Then he tosses the terminal aside without a second glance and patches into the comms using another device. Orbital drop program continuing. Adjusting compensation coefficients. Escape velocity compensation accounted for. Updating coordinates from Port Podesta to Mid-Atlantic, Sector EOA 01. Confirmed. Launch. He presses the launch key. Every red light on the loading valves flips to green. The acceleration rings along the entire kinetic drop rail ignite at once, orange light chasing down the length of the track. 1 loop, 2 loops, 3 loops. A streaking scar tears through the vacuum. Over 53,000 tons of high-density aggregated moon rock plummets toward the blue planet at Mach 20. The timing is flawless. Babylonia has just slipped into orbit on the far side, with Earth hanging like a silent colossus between it and the moon. That velocity. Confirmed detection. Kinetic weapon strike targeting Earth. The lead operator stares at the screen in horror as the Moonrock Foundation pillar's trajectory updates in real time. Cold sweat beads across her forehead. No strike authorization on record. Verify impact coordinates. The operator's fingers race across the console, then come to an abrupt halt, as though she's frozen in place. Sector EOA 01. That's the Transatlantic Economic Community. The Atlantic Eye? Bathed in the morning light, the disciple ascends the mountains and gazes out at the colossal structure blocking the horizon. The promised time is here. The thunderous roar shakes the earth. A blue-white streak tears down through the clouds like divine fire, striking with surgical precision at the coordinates fate had promised. When over 50,000 tons of high-density aggregated moon rock punches through the dam's heart, what little remained of the old era's splendor crumbles in a single breath. The sound arrives a beat late. A faint tremor ripples through nearly the entire North Atlantic, and then radiance erupts from the earth. The wonder that Ananka had sealed beneath the seabed after the Atlantic calamity resurfaces once more. A colossal blue jet shoots skyward, tracing the silhouette of a giant tree across the heavens. The whole ocean shakes. The moonrock that plunged through the Atlantic Eye pushes its shock across the water, through every reef and island in hundreds of kilometers. The island beneath Arius jolts violently, Waves surge upward from below, scattering into white mist. This tree again. He gazes at the magnificent spectacle unfolding before him. The colossal tree takes root in the bedrock of the ocean basin, far below sea level, its branches spreading high above the clouds. What should have been a fleeting wonder now stretches endlessly across the horizon, its glassy blue radiance blotting out the sky. And the stars of heaven fell unto the earth, even as a fig tree casteth her untimely figs, when she is shaken of a mighty wind. Beyond the colossal tree that dominates all sight, the fresh wound torn into the Atlantic eye is bleeding crimson. The red tide. This living blood creeps along the tree's luminous veins, coiling slowly upward like the serpent that entwined the tree of life in legends long past. Oh? The red tide seeps outward from the core shattered by the moon rock, staining the waters within the dam a deep crimson. From beyond the atmosphere, a scarlet eye opens over the Atlantic. Arius lifts his gaze. The tree's canopy unfurls slowly above the clouds, casting the shadows of a forgotten age across the reefs below. From a sealed coffin, something of this age comes crawling out. He bends down, reaches out, and plucks a single crimson thread from the surface of the water. Is this another surprise you left for me, Dominic? Oh boy. PGR really has a fondness for, like, making everything seem like it's, like, just about to wrap up nicely. And then having shit hit the fan at the absolute last minute. Also, it just reiterates something that I said, like, I don't know if it was yesterday or when I started this chapter, but, like, I do not understand why some chapters in this game are side stories. Because, like, every one of them feels like required reading. Like, literally, why was this a side story? Why was this not main story? Is this not going to define how the direction the main story is following for, like, several chapters? Ophelia. Dear Helentine, I'm writing this letter to tell you, due to my work, I may not be able to return home for a very long time. Things here are even more complicated than they were back in Port Podesta, so it may still take a long, long time before I can come back. All this time I've been wondering, while you had forgotten the past, did I do a good job of becoming your sister? That's right. I was trying to become the sister you once were. This is my first time doing something like this. Whether I did it well or not, I honestly don't know. I may not be able to return for a very, very long time. But by now, you must have learned how to live your own life well, haven't you? You still have a long, long life ahead of you. As for me, perhaps I'll be no more than a brief moment in all that time. But if the short time we shared left even a small mark on your heart, then maybe that's enough to carry me through the long years apart. Sister, Helentine, I hope your days ahead are filled with more happiness than you can count. And there we have it. That's the end of this chapter. It was pretty neat. I definitely feel really bad for Ophelia. Feels like nothing ever really went right for her. And, I'm definitely curious to see what comes next. Now that the baddies have, you know, nuked something. Like, what are we gonna do about that? I'm guessing that, like, the next few chapters are gonna surround, like, what just happened. And eventually, we're gonna work our way up to being able to get into the Atlantic Eye and solve problems there. But we're probably gonna need, like, a few chapters to get there first. Yeah, nothing that the Commandant can't fix. With the help of some friendly constructs. Helentine was a pretty interesting character, too. I feel like she dealt with stuff that none of the other constructs have really dealt with. Because I think, like, every other... Well... Kamui's consciousness was a little damaged. But most of the other constructs we've seen so far, like, their consciousnesses were intact when they became constructs. So they're, like, just the same people that they were when they were alive as humans. Helentine's the first one who, like, underwent a very significant change after becoming a construct. And it dealt with the question of, like, is she still the person she was? More directly than, like, any other construct has. It was interesting. But that will be all for tonight. I don't know when I will stream next. It could be as early as Sunday. I might wait until Monday or Tuesday night. My little mini vacation is ending, so I'm gonna be moving some stuff one of these days. But you know, it'll be good. It'll be fun. I'll be heading back home. And since I don't have anything to do in WUWA or PGR right now, and I also did pretty much everything I wanted to do on stream in Clair Obscure, I've got, like, maybe one more thing I want to do still in Blueprints on stream. So maybe I'll do that. And then maybe after that, I can move on to I can start a new game. I've got a couple ideas. Alright. Let's see if anybody is streaming. Oh. A few people are. Let's see. It always feels like I've raided people so recently, and then I look at my raid history and it turns out I raided them like 2 months ago. Okay. Since we actually haven't raided him in a bit, I think let's go raid Kiro. He's playing Grand Blue Fantasy Relink. That game just had a new expansion come out. So let's go say hi. Alright. Yeah, I will see you all again soon. I hope everybody has a really good weekend. And I will see you all later. Bye-bye. Thank you for coming.